you're good. You're chilling.
I mean, I don't think that Donald Trump does everything bad.
What?
I think
All right, 1, 2.
and action. Yeah.
What's up, everyone? It is me, homeboy Jubian, kicking with the one and only.
Hello, Dante Martin.
And of course, Manny.
Hi, Manny.
Today we're going to be having a multifaceted conversation. We're going to be talking about politics. We're going to be talking about the gay world, LGBTQ issues, hot topic issues that we are currently facing. Go ahead and start off, Manny.
What'd you vote for?
Oh, okay.
Right. Just right into it. Although I do think that in general, voting is a private thing. I did vote for Kamala Harris. Yeah.
Me too.
Okay.
I did too.
Yeah.
Let's give you a 1 point. Okay. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, sorry. I cleared that test. The litmus test. I cleared that one. I mean, I think there were a lot of things that, she was talking about that I wish she kind of distanced herself from her predecessor on, but I think she ultimately is aligned with a lot more of what I would think would be what I would value.
Nice.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, for
sure.
Yeah.
So, as to what you want to know what those things are?
Yeah.
You're looking at me like,
I don't.
I'm still not believing
for
you.
the juicy question.
Yeah. I need some details.
I mean, this is, well traveled by a few people that, or by a bunch of people that cover this as their profession. But she, I think, did herself in by, what was it on The View? When she talked about, when they asked her rather pointedly if she would change anything or she would distance herself from her predecessor, Joe Biden. And she said, no, I wouldn't have any different. I wouldn't do anything differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same with the old, yeah.
It's like, I mean, you got to be your own candidate.
Yeah. I will say so I agree with you, by the way, on that.
Not that you have to. You don't have to agree.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I think she put in a lot of work, but it's very hard, especially because it was a one-term president, right? Yeah. It's very hard to separate yourself from that. And I think she did a lot of conversations like that where she would say like, hey, like he's doing a good job. Was he doing a good job? I think he was doing a really good job. I mean, like the stock market was really high, inflation was coming down, people were finally getting back to work. I think there was a bunch of companies that made things very expensive and they were like, should we drop prices? Maybe not.
Price gouging, yeah.
But I do think like that obviously hurt her, and I wish it would say like, hey, like obviously we have some similarities, I'm working with him, but these are some of the things that I would do differently. Sure. So I do agree with you on that.
Sure.
But I think that as a politician, they always do similar things like that. I think Trump has definitely changed the whole way politics works now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like you now want to be insulting people. You now want to demean people.
Yeah,
like,
it's where we're at now.
Remember back in the day when people would literally get dropped for,
cancel culture.
His laugh was too...
Oh my God, Dean. Arizona,
Howard Dean?
New York, yeah.
Yeah, you remember Howard? Yeah, that was...
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Probably blew your eardrums out whoever's listening to this. Yeah.
He got canceled for that, yeah.
He did.
And it's like now, it's like, that doesn't matter anymore. If you're a Republican. Well, my God.
Well, I mean, that's sort of a good thing, right? Like, I mean, because cancel culture was sort of not well liked by both sides of the
Yeah,
the thing,
I totally
right?
agree, yeah.
I mean, I think that it needed to be sunset. I mean, people walking on eggshells, and I mean, I think there were a lot of great things to come out of, the women's, movement and all that, or that resurgence of making sure that men are operating, especially in the workplace, with 2 strikes now. That makes sense to me, because now men mostly can't get away with, sexual assault and all these things that normally in decades past they would be able to do. And there would be no recourse for a woman or anyone else experiencing that to handle that. So that's a great thing. So there are some positives to come out of it, but having people have their careers taken away for things that there's just no degree, it's just all the same. Like if you do anything that can even be associated with sexual assault, your life's over, at least for the foreseeable future. And I think there's gradations. You can't just say a rapist is the same as someone that tried to hey, I wanted to talk to you. Well, I was uncomfortable. Okay,
right? Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's kind of like, hey, if I give someone a compliment, oh my God, you look so beautiful today. Oh my God, sexual assault. It's like, bitch, I was giving you a compliment. Like,
yeah,
there's a difference.
Okay, but
Yeah.
There is a difference, yes, between you hitting on someone once and you hitting on someone constantly over and over and over again.
Sure.
Which a lot of women experience. I mean, a lot of the things that I've like from like women that I know, right?
Yeah.
Personally, they're like, bro, like this dude won't leave me alone. And they're still trying to slide into the DMs and everything, even though they said like, hey, I'm not into you. Right. And I feel like that is a culture problem that we have with men, where it's like no means no, and they still sometimes don't understand no.
Yeah.
Right, but that I agree with you, because a guy doing that is, you know, you handle that the best you can, but that he's not a rapist though.
Yeah. Right. He's not a rapist.
It's not the same.
He's obviously someone.
It's bad behavior.
Yes, it's bad.
It's bad behavior.
So there is a difference, right? Like obviously, but I still think that you not leaving someone alone when they're asking you to leave them alone. Yeah, it's an invasion of their space.
I think that more so. I mean, because I agree with you. I think that more so gets into the world of just social decorum, which I think is grossly devolved, especially with how social media has given us, as if this is news to anyone. Social media has given each and every one of us access to pretty much anyone, with some restrictions. Whatever. But you are literally, everyone, including myself, are glued to your phone. Yeah.
Not me.
And really, you're not?
No, I'm joking. No.
Oh, I was gonna say because I mean, even though, and I'll date myself here without giving away a specific age. I enjoyed my life without my cell phone, without having one, when it wasn't around. I don't
remember that life.
I remember. You don't remember it?
Did you have a sidekick?
I never had a sidekick.
I had a sidekick.
You did. Okay. I never had that, but I remember my life before smartphones were a thing. I mean, cell phones were always pretty much a part of the world, but they were not certainly something that everyone had, and they certainly weren't smartphones.
Yeah.
But now that everyone is able to, hey, I can just swipe through a litany of people to see if it's all just a hot or not. Isn't that what social media is? Just a hot or not?
It's a popularity contest.
A different version of hot or not.
Yeah.
You know?
What was it like back in the day?
Here we go. I did it to myself by dating myself the way that I have.
So what was it like? Like, how is it that people used to meet up with people? Right, like let's say, because now you have Grindr, you have Sniffies, right? It's like it's geolocation.
Right.
Yeah.
How was that done before that?
It was geolocation, but you're just in person. It was cruising, right? It's cruising culture. It's kind of like, I don't want to give away a couple of spots that I know that people have seen me at, on the van. But there are, Sorry.
No. I'm just listening because again,
so
stories.
Cruising spots, right? So let's say you would go. What would you do? Like, how do you communicate with someone? Because now it's just like you're just texting, right? You're just like basically messaging them.
That can only get you so far. I feel like once you're in person and you're about to like do the deed, you kind of have to read body language. You kind of have to read the room, if that makes sense. Like, if they give you a nod, then you nod back. If they're walking away, then you're walking away. If someone turns around, you have to turn around. You have to look at the same time. Then whoever is the aggressor, I guess, in that sense, has to walk towards them. And whoever is like, I don't want to say dick hungry, but whoever wants to bust a nut or, drop a loaf, is going to be more inclined to, engage in the cruising aspect of that. Either you get their phone number, I guess back then was landline, and then now it's kind of like, hey, here's my social media handle, whatever.
I thought you were going to say social security number.
In your experience, people are exchanging information at a hookup spot?
After the deed is done.
Really?
Yeah.
I always thought because I don't have much experience with these things. Like I've been a part of a few. I've been a part of it. Like it's a fucking it's a theater play. I always thought like the way that the silent agreement was that you would show up, the thing's over, and then you walk the fuck away. I didn't think people were like, "What's your card?" Like people are actually doing that.
No, that's the way it should be. But I always feel like whenever I'm at those locations, people are always like, "Oh, you're hotter than the normal guy that comes here."
There it is.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want to that sounds so like.
It goes back to the social media.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But social media has ruined hookup cruising spots now.
Yeah, because now it's like,
what's your Insta?
Right. It's like, hey sis, give me your Insta.
Wait, so you're not supposed to say those things?
I just thought,
no,
I always
yeah.
thought that was just the quick in and out thing, right?
Yeah, that's what it should be. But I kind of feel like people are like, hey, you're really hot, let's grab some lunch. But I'm always like, hey, bro, I'm just here to like film or do what I have to do for the day and then go home to my husband. I don't really care for, switching social media stuff. Like, yeah.
Can I ask you about that?
Of course. Yeah.
Not saying like your relationship specifically, because that's none of my business, and as anyone in a relationship isn't. But just in general, like, how do you navigate like having a relationship, a husband, and then also having like that, I would say that human, especially a male, drive for sexual gratification and release. Like, I mean, how do you what is your opinion on that?
It's very hard. It's very hard.
Is it
but
hard?
I definitely feel like communication is number one, no matter
Sure.
what. And you have to be honest. If you sit there and lie, I feel like that is what gets a lot of people in trouble. Like a lot of people can sit there and say, "Oh, I'm in an open relationship. Oh, I'm this, I'm that," but they're sitting there taking loads on the side on a Wednesday night, right? If they're sitting there and keeping it real and saying, "Hey, you know what? I have to go do this. I have to go do that. I have to go put food on the table." And they're totally 100% okay with it. I feel like that is what kind of builds the bond and makes relationships stronger. And you're definitely going to know your partner because whoever you're sleeping with at the end of the night, every single night you're cuddled up with, that is who is going to know every single detail about your life. The way you fart, the way you smell, your morning breath, the hugs, the cuddles, the kisses, all the little things. Those things matter. And it's kind of like a delicate balance, I guess.
Right.
So
yeah.
Are you single or are you?
Yeah, I am. Can't you tell? No, I am.
Let's see the ring finger. Okay, yeah, you're single.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why? You're so attractive.
Man,
Why?
the esoteric nature, well, not the esoteric, but like the transformative, just short questions. Just when you just say why, such a short question, but it's just like I just feel like I'm.
Break it down for us.
Like I'm miles away now. Just like where have I gone wrong in my life? No. By the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with being single.
Right.
Yeah. This culture certainly, and I don't mean like culture, like gay culture only, but I think it's
Millennials.
Well, millennials, I guess maybe I mean, what do you mean by that? What do you mean?
I feel like us in the millennial generation, we're not being held to that same standard of like you have to get married right off the bat. You have to start having children. And we're more like
in Latino
this dog
culture,
like this dog is my kid, right? I don't have dogs. I don't like dogs, but
we're getting canceled now.
But like you can have a pet now, and that's technically your child. And then back in the day, it was like the expectation was like you're gonna get married and you're gonna have kids, and then the cycle repeats. And now it's like we've broken that cycle, where it's like we can be single at 50, 40, 30, whatever age, and because we're looking for happiness. We're not looking here to be partnered up with someone and be tied up forever.
Yeah. I think that has a large part to do with just like the historicity of it, just because for a large part of the American, family life, it was expected of you to, like as you just indicated, to be married and to have children and to have a house by a certain age. And if you didn't, if you were a bachelor past the age of, let's say 35, it was, they were like, well, we all know what he is.
Yeah.
And now that, among other things, and it's a lot of things, that are at play here. It's not just this, but especially given that we, as part of this, cultural shift over the decades from many people that, God fucking, sacrificed so much to change that. Now, I think that's in a lot of ways helped, where you can be single or not have, marriage as part of your life as like a legitimate certificate, but you're with someone or whatever, and that's okay. It doesn't have the stigma that it once did, which is a fantastic, I think, advancement. But as to why myself is single, that's multi-pronged. It's not just like, I haven't, I've tried and failed many times as anyone else has. It's
I've
just,
tried twice.
You only dated twice?
Yeah.
Okay, and like you said, you're done with that?
Yeah.
Tell us what happened. What happened with your last relationship?
Oh my god, that was a mess.
I feel like you asked that knowing already what it is.
Yeah, I already know. I had to deal with all this bullcorn whenever I was in Brazil. But go ahead and break it down for everybody. What
What?
happened?
But this isn't about me.
Yeah, it is. Of course
I
it is.
basically dated someone that was in the industry, and it was a mess. It was like,
Yeah, it got a
steel-
little weird.
The steel industry?
huh?
The steel industry?
Yeah, the steel industry.
We're
Yeah.
all part of that, right?
He was a Steeler, yeah.
Well, not me,
Pittsburgh,
but,
not
yeah.
Philadelphia.
But basically, it was just kind of psychotic. Like,
Yeah.
And what was he? I'm kidding.
he
I'm
was
kidding.
Caucasian, 6'2".
European
No, I mean,
American.
Is that what you mean?
Man, we're insulting everyone.
What? No, we're not. Don't cancel.
How'd you meet him? I'm always curious.
So this is funny. It
Oh,
was
this is
actually
good, yeah.
a normal interaction, right? So usually you have that, like that phone culture, right? Where you're just
Sure,
like,
yeah.
you're swiping through photos and that's like, you get straight to the business, right?
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
For this one, it was more of like online on Twitter. Started
Okay.
talking about random stuff.
X now.
We'll call it
X.
Twitter. It would always be Twitter. Yeah, always.
Okay.
I
So-
do think the name change was stupid, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that was stupid.
But basically, what happened was we just started talking on Twitter about random stuff, and then they happened to be out here in LA for a photo shoot, and then we were gonna go out for drinks, and then I was like, "Hey, do you want to come out? Because you're only here for like 2 days."
Mm-hmm.
So they did, and they were growling and
Barking.
Okay, they're
I had
fine.
a club appearance, and his new boyfriend was like "Ruff, ruff," barking at people walking by, and I'm just like, "Who is this weird ass bitch you got with you? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, bitch, what type of gig do you think this is? Like."
I just thought it was funny. I didn't think anything of it.
But he did give me a heads up, like, "Hey, this guy that I'm gonna bring is randomly barking at people."
Did you ask him why the fuck he was doing that?
So
I
he-
wanted to, but he didn't let me.
So he told me
You didn't let him.
I didn't want him to.
I don't,
I'm a little bit
want to make it
aggressive.
awkward. What did you just ask?
He's aggressive sometimes, but basically I asked. Actually, I didn't even ask. It's just based on the conversations we were having. He would talk about how he comes from like Northern Europe, like some of his roots are from like the Nordic. Allegedly.
Yeah.
And that it's like wolf culture. Like people thought that they're descendants from wolves from over there.
Right.
And then he thought he was like a wolf.
Okay, I hope against hope that you did not believe him.
I was just like, oh, that's adorable.
Well, they dated for a while.
We did.
Oh
date
wait,
for
so
a while.
this?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
this
did
was a
for while.
long like situation.
It was like a.
How long are we talking?
Was it 2.5 years? 3?
Yeah.
This is 2.5 years post this happening.
Yeah,
Yes.
post that. Yeah.
It was like on and off. Like the dude was crazy, and he was like such a good
No,
manipulator.
I think you've clearly indicated that he's.
Yeah.
Uh,
One time we were with my friends.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to
Oh
hear
my
this.
God.
It all comes out now.
One time we were with my friends, and we're just at a bonfire, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you know, Hispanic, we have like a lot of like witchcraft and
Witchcraft.
issues.
What? Okay.
What?
It's a joke for anyone watching.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Okay, so
Not really.
we have a lot of like witchcraft and you know like a lot of
What do you mean by that? I don't know.
Like
like
Santeria?
brujeria.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a
See,
lot
I'm
of
not familiar enough with that. What the hell is that? I know what you know. Right. What is that?
Think about like Louisiana, like the
Oh, so it's like voodoo.
yes, kind of like
Kinda
that, but
like-
so
So
it's
it's like
Hispanic
a
version of
It's
it.
like, okay, and it's called what?
Brujeria. It's like witchcraft.
Santeria, yeah.
Santeria, yeah.
Oh,
Santeria
okay.
Brujeria.
Okay, is there like a deity or deities that
Well,
are part
the
of
There's
this?
a
Santa
couple.
Muerte. Yeah,
Really?
you got the
Santa
Santa Muerte. You got like a
Oh.
bunch of other stuff.
Shit.
But
Yeah.
basically, we have a lot of stories about like elves and or duendes. What are they called in English?
Gnomes.
Gnomes.
You can't
I
say
guess.
little
Yeah, there's
person.
elf
or-
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I get insulted if you say that.
No, but
How
it's like
tall are
it's
you?
like the elves.
I'll tell him I'm not. I mean, honestly, people.
You don't have to answer it. Okay.
No, I'm not gonna answer. You know what? To save face, I won't even answer.
He's 5'9".
I am.
Taller than Joe Rogan.
Who's 5'2"? Okay.
Allegedly. But basically, we were around the bonfire just talking about like scary things that happened as a child.
Uh-huh.
I grew up in a house that was actually haunted.
What do you mean-
And
what
I'm
do you mean
not
like-
kidding.
You mean like actually haunted?
It was actually haunted. It was weird. Honestly, there would be like noises. I mean, right now I live in a place that's haunted. Like,
No, it was just LA, so there's just tons of like homeless people screaming in the middle of
I
nowhere.
mean, there's homeless people, but you hear cracking at night, banging and stuff. Second story, okay. But anyways, let me go back to the story. So we were around the bonfire, and we were just telling some of our like scary experiences. Mm-hmm. And then homie started talking about how he set a barn on fire as like when he was younger.
Oh yeah, I
We've all
remember you told
done
me
that.
story. It was super weird.
What?
We've all done that.
Oh, I've never. Yeah.
I've never done that.
Yeah, I've never done it.
Okay.
But he was literally talking about that, and then he just started talking about how he was in the military.
Which was a lie. He was never.
I don't know, but basically, yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lie. And obviously he was just doing that to impress my friends.
Yeah.
But he would say,
By saying you committed arson?
wait, how did this turn about me and not you?
That's you.
We're gonna turn it back. What do you?
It was why I
see-
was single. That's where.
Yeah.
Why? What are like 3 qualities that a guy has to have, or woman, whichever,
Sure.
has to have that would make you want to date them?
Well, I could give joke answers, but to actually answer it, I mean, I would say for me, they have to have a strong sense of humor, for one, because humor to me, you can't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
And so many fucking people do. Even the ones that think that they don't, they absolutely do. And even myself, I include myself in that. Even myself, I'm just like, no, I'm blah, blah, blah. And then, like, someone just says something or does something, and then it just bruises your ego. You're like, fuck. And you're just like, God, snap out of it. And honestly, just to kind of just really quickly just piggyback on what you were saying, because I myself, in relationships that I've had in the past, and I'm tethering this to not taking yourself too seriously, is I would stay in, or want to keep a relationship because the person was attractive, because I attached my self-worth to them. And if that person who I deemed to be so attractive no longer was with me or didn't find me attractive anymore, that meant that I wasn't. And
For
getting
me, that
out
wasn't
of that,
the thing, though.
that's great. But getting out of that and then breaking that cycle, but then also realizing it's me. I have to do homework on myself. And I think doing homework on yourself includes being like, you need to just understand that this is all just you got to enjoy it, and also just please don't take yourself too seriously, because there are, and this is where it's going to come out for me now, the people, especially in this industry that we're a part of, some of the most arrogant, some of the most, they walk around like it's like you're fucking on camera.
Yeah.
You're not volunteering for health foundations in Africa.
Right. Yeah.
And the people that do that, they're the most humble people in the world. They're not. But and again, there's a lot of things here at play. Like, I mean, you have to sell yourself and all that. It is an industry about looks, so it ends up being always about looks. And then when all you base your life and your worth on is your looks, how do you get out of that? So again, it's an industry that chews you up, spits you out, and the people that anyway. But
not me.
Not you.
Or you.
That's kind of it. But
Y'all
seriously,
stay out there.
I'm only saying this to him because I don't know you that well. But like for you, but seriously, like you've never given me that.
Oh no.
You've never given me that.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry to kind of like do a smattering of things, but yeah. So please don't take yourself. So that's one. Having a strong sense of humor, because again, that's an indication of where they are mentally.
Yeah.
I think also having drive too. I mean, you don't really want to be around someone that they're like, I mean, for me, it's all case by case. Some people, they're perfectly happy with just their corner of the world, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I really do. Some people are completely happy just living in a fishing village, and that's beautiful. But and that's great. But for me, like I like to surround myself with people that they want to get something done and they have objectives, and in like plural. They want to get something done and they have motivation. And I also, anyway, so there's that. So drive, sense of humor, and I guess the third thing would be
Do they have to be able to work out with you?
no, because I actually like working out by myself. Because I'm not the most patient person in the world.
Yeah.
So like when someone's there and they're just like, oh my God, this is heavy. I'm like, okay, this is.
But what if it's heavy?
Listen, I'm sorry.
But what if it is heavy?
I mean, if it is heavy, then that's great. But like, I guess that's sort of I guess it's the same thing. But I guess being self-sufficient too, because that's another thing too. I don't look for people and don't set yourself up where the person that you met that you want to share your life with, they had a life before they met you.
Exactly.
And statistically speaking, they'll have a life after you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So understand that when you're going into a relationship, they've had a life already. They've had multiple relationships. You're just a stop on the railroad. And I don't mean to think, and I don't mean to say like things, you can't have a relationship that has, longevity, because of course you can. It's just understanding that, just people are complicated, and I would say just understanding that will go a long way. Because thinking you're meeting the one every single time you meet someone, get out of that. Please, for the love of God, get out of that.
There's some people out there that I know that have dated like multiple serial daters. Like they fall in love and they're like, oh my God, he's the one. And then next week, what happened, sis? I thought y'all were the one. I thought y'all moved in together, Instagram official. Yeah. Y'all filmed together. Y'all were in love. And then next week, they're filming with somebody else or they're dating someone else. Yeah. Or they changed their Instagram handle to whatever and whatever. It's kind of chaotic.
It's like they read the cards and the cards said like, oh my God, this person is the one for me.
Yeah.
And then they went down the spiral.
Yeah.
And now they're on crack.
I think they were already on crack.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah. So I guess those things. I mean, I there's some overlap, but I would say those things. I'm not meaning to say that those are the most important, but for me, just as I'm talking to you right now, I would say those things are pretty important to me.
Do you think your relationship type is then less of the nuclear type of family? Like, I don't know how to explain it or how to put it into words, but what I'm trying to say is like, or culture, right? There's like a dominant and then there's a passive. There's like a man and a woman, right? Like there's like a power there, right? Sure. Where the man is the one that leads. Okay. Yeah. Right. So you're describing a type of relationship that doesn't fit that type of normative status.
I am?
Yeah, because you said you want someone to be as equal, right? Like you're your own person, I'm my own person. We work together. So is it hard?
That could be like in the nuclear sense, right? It could be like, oh, husband. It's 50-50, not like, oh, I'm the man. I gotta buy you, your clothes.
That makes sense. Okay, that
to
makes
an extent.
sense.
It's not like I'm not gonna spoil
Okay,
the female in the relationship. Yeah. It's like we're both men. We both hustle hard. You need to come with your own stuff, 50-50. Yeah. Instead of I'm not going to supply your lifestyle. You know how these that old school lifestyle.
Sure. I don't want a project. No. I don't want to. I mean,
come healed.
Yes. I enjoy being compassionate because I am a compassionate person, maybe overly so. But I don't want a science project to take care of.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I mean, we're all growing and we're all learning how to do things as we get older. And you should never stop learning. But I don't need someone that's a pet project. I need someone that's working on themselves as much as they're working towards their goals.
Okay, that makes sense.
Irrespective if I'm present.
I think this is the way relationships should be. It should be 50-50. Like you have your own stuff. They have their own stuff. Yeah. You have your own personality. Your lives are together, but there's space away from each other in order to be your own person.
It's completely healthy, by the way, and this is by a lot of fucking failure on my end. It is completely healthy that you could be with someone for any length of time, but it's completely amazing and healthy to say to that person that you're with, hey, I need a few days to myself.
Yeah.
And if you say that and that person doesn't understand, then there's some things you need to iron out with that person. Yeah. And you need to talk about. But having your own time, that's valuable.
Yep.
And the people that among other reasons, there's a reason why so many relationships crash and burn before they even begin, is because they think they need to spend every fucking waking minute with that person. Because if they don't, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
If we don't hang out every day.
What did I say?
And obviously, I'm stripping away a lot of parameters. I mean, I'm speaking in generalities, but you got to. That's a healthy thing to do. And as long as they're not needing time to themselves to go cheat on you, that's a whole separate
right,
thing.
Yes.
But Anyway, but yeah, I also have to really. It's a hard thing to break. I don't know if you guys had this a part of your life or whatever, but I tend to really gravitate sexually towards pretty. It's a hard spell to break.
Pretty? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's not the Y word, so.
Wow.
Oh, sure. I'm not going to mention who came to mind immediately when you said that.
I'm lost.
I said,
Well, say it now because it might be confusing people.
well, I didn't say a person.
I know.
I just meant the Y word.
You mean an archetype, a young person.
A young person, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of like gay people that are like
There are
18,
so many.
19,
Well,
20.
I feel like because the gay culture is already obsessed with youth, that, oh my God, the young, I gotta stay young. Young is hot. I gotta, live my Frappuccino fantasy.
I know what you're talking about now.
You know exactly.
Now I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. We don't want to get sued, but I kind
Allegedly.
of feel, right?
Allegedly.
I kind of feel like whenever you're young, you're able to like say whatever the fuck you want and do whatever. Like that's how I was. But now I'm like more calm, and I'm like, you know what? Let me start thinking about a long-term goal. Let me start thinking about my life in 10 years or 15 years, or not just, woohoo, let me go get fucked up at the club and turn up and then hook up.
Well, I think that's because recovering takes a little bit longer now.
Well, but I'm not that old. I'm 25.
But if you think about it, there is a problem amongst not just the gay community, but just also
American
heterosexual males. It's just a male culture.
With what?
With like older, always preying on the younger.
Well, I don't.
And
think
I'm not saying like underage, but obviously there's an issue everywhere with that. But it's like, why is it that you have these 50-year-olds dating 18, 19, 20-year-olds?
Right. I kind of feel like biologically, it's kind of like whenever a woman is 19 years old, she's fertile, right? She's able to produce children. Compared to a woman who's 60, she still might be able to, but she's probably not going to have any eggs left if they're not shriveled up.
But here's the thing. They're not doing that to reproduce, to actually have children and repopulate the earth or populate the earth. They're doing it because they have an issue with age, right?
Ageism.
And this is why a lot of men are lonely, because they cannot get over that youth problem. Because once that person hits a certain age, you're not attracted to them anymore, and now you got to find someone that's like younger than them.
Sure.
So you could never actually be happy. You can never be with someone long term. And I remember one time I went to Palm Springs and I met a guy, and I asked him, because he was there with his husband, and I asked him like how'd you guys meet, everything, and he told me they met. He was like 20 years older, so they met when he was like 18, 19, and he basically was attracted to him because he was Asian, he was shorter, he was smaller, small frame, right? Basically a twink. And then he started gaining weight after a couple of years, and then the first thing the guy asked him was like, can we have an open relationship?
Well,
because he wasn't attracted to him anymore. And I'm not saying that attraction equals love.
Is that surprising?
No.
And that parameter of a relationship, is that in any way surprising?
Right. If it's based off of
So it's like,
it's not a relationship. It's not a relationship. I mean, an arrangement is a relationship, but that's an arrangement.
Yeah.
Right.
And if that person honestly either one of them thought that this was something that was being built on a sound foundation, they're both lying to themselves. But I mean, we see that now, don't we? Or I mean, speaking of Palm Springs, I've met many a guy out there, not like in a romantic sense, but like when I was working, dancing, whatever. And there are incredibly wealthy men out there. At least they'd have you believe that they're wealthy.
Right.
And they, are like, oh God, this guy, like, he stood me up, or I'm dating this one guy, and you're like, that's the guy that I'm fucking dancing with. You're not dating. Right. Like, bro.
The Lulu is real.
It is, and I don't, and again, I mean, it is funny, but also like it does indicate that this has always been a part of, not gay culture, but it is part of that. But just again, like men, because again, like unlike women, men can be sexually, they can be sexual well into their golden years.
Right.
Women can as well, but women, it's obviously just in general, women are not as sexual as men are.
But also Viagra. Let's not forget.
And men, there's that. But men have it. Men can continue at, stripping away some medical conditions. Men can continue to, be able to enjoy the gratification of sex. Women can as well, but again, they have a lot more things happen to them. I guess different things that happen to them that make it maybe less appealing. But I just where were we again? I can't remember now.
With the Lulu of the older
so
guy.
basically like youth. So basically, the community needs to move away from your value is based on your youth.
They do. Well, we're always going to be youth obsessed. Ageism, as to quote you, ageism, as other people have mentioned, many more smarter people than myself, ageism is the last acceptable form of prejudice we have.
Yeah.
You can be as ageist as you want, and people still laugh it off. Mm-hmm. And especially in this country, it's not as heavily. It's in many other cultures and many other countries. Being older, they are revered.
Yep.
Yeah. Respect.
They are respected in Mexico, especially. That's there.
Las abuelas.
In Japan.
Yep.
And you can mention so many countries, but here, everyone is obsessed with youth, and I don't mean everyone, but a sizable cross section. And I count myself among them. I'm not speaking from on high, like, God, you guys need to change. I mean, it is a hard thing to break, because when you're in it and everything is geared towards that, best of luck.
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah.
And just kind of also getting to I would say like really uncomfortable, part of that is the gay industry, and especially the gay porn industry. They have a responsibility, especially in the sense of stop advertising the youth, the barely 18 thing. That needs to go away yesterday. That needs to go the fuck away. Yeah. It was always uncomfortable, but they, again, because it was profitable, it was there. Yes, they're legally not breaking anything, but still, it reinforced this already there mental principle. Yeah. I'm getting a little soapboxy, sorry. No, but it's just...
Preach!
We're part of an industry that has a lot of things thrown at it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are just unfounded, but that needs to be sunset now.
Yeah,
we need more people talking about that, because and I think it is changing, because a lot of things have happened.
I mean, they're starting to ban porn.
There's what now?
They're starting to ban porn in some places.
They are starting to ban porn.
That's a different thing, but I mean, that needs to go away. I'm just the fucking Cupid looking, kid with the cherubic face, just with the broccoli hair, like, oh my God, it's happening. Like, I mean, we got to get away from that, please, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Because again, it reinforces the stereotype that gay men are sexual deviants, that are pedophiles.
Yeah.
But
I agree with you. By the way, I agree with you, but it's also in the straight industry.
Yeah, the straight industry, the girl with the pigtails.
They both do the same thing, and I think it's like a male thing, right? Men need to get over that age thing.
Well, that's the thing. That's what drives sales, right? Thinking about the business side aspect of it, I totally get it. That is what sells for these companies. So if they've been doing it for 30, 40 years, why would they turn away from it now?
Sure.
Like,
that makes
why
sense.
would they have this coming to Jesus moment of saying like, oh my God, I don't want to pay my bills this month. Let me not do this. You know what I mean? Like that's from the business side. So it needs to start from the top and then work its way down. Yeah. But I'm glad that we're having this conversation.
Yeah, that's
we can
important.
disrupt it. Yeah. We can shake it up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, they caught that one guy, so that's a start.
Well, allegedly.
I mean, he displays behavior that many other also, and they haven't been brought to any type of
justice.
I don't want to say justice. Well, I mean, I guess we could, but like they're still doing that behavior.
Yeah.
And it's just one of a great many ugly things about this industry that I could wax poetic on, because I just I don't have a lot of things to say. I do have some healthy things to say and some positive things to say, but I mean, it's a Pandora's box for me when I start just.
Yeah. Who was your best collab?
You're like, let's dodge
Who was your best collab ever?
Oh God, best collab ever.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna include like my professional career
Yeah,
as
for
well as
sure.
like
Yeah,
my the post professional career.
Yeah.
I don't really have one. There's not one that really sticks out. I mean, they all blur for me.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. I know that's a boring answer. I don't have one where I'm like, oh my lord. I've had, but they've all been more or less just okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. Who's been your worst collab?
See, that's the one you remember, right?
The van.
There was one where it was worse that it was just like just physically, just because again it was a physical act. Like there was, I was still like only a couple years into it, and but at that time I had done a number of scenes, so I was well seasoned, if you will, and they even at that time paired me with the not younger, but newer models because they were, I knew what I was doing, and they needed someone that knew what they were doing, so I could show them the way. So whatever.
Like
so, like who?
Like Moses.
Who's that?
Moses.
From the Bible.
Show them the way. Got it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a conversation to have, by the way. I love talking about religion.
Do you?
But I
That's
do.
the next topic.
I actually
Okay.
do. But this person was very nervous. It was their first scene ever, and he just shat everywhere.
Oh.
It was just it
Oh!
was
First
What
of all,
did he howl?
It-
Oh!
yeah, did he do that? And then there. I mean, so there was that one. I mean, that's I guess that's pretty standard. I mean, in dealing with what we do.
Yeah.
But there was another one where, speaking of like howling, there was one where I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that. But I remember I was filming for a different studio at this time, and it was the one that I had filmed with for a long time. And this model who was also like, I think was their first scene with the company, and we in between takes, like you fluff yourself up, and like the director's on their phone, the DP's on their phone, so like everyone's doing their own thing,
Right.
And while you fluff yourself up, most people look at their phone for whatever gets them off.
Yeah.
This person was looking at their phone, and the director, who was close by the camera, was just like, "What are you looking at?" And I didn't know. I was still doing my own thing, so it wasn't even registering. But like I was hearing words being said, and then my ears perked up when he's just like, "Oh, that's me. That's my girlfriend and our dog."
Oh.
And I was like, and the director, I could see his face, the blood drained from his face, and he's just like, "Oh, that's oh," and it was bestiality. It was the dog. It was his girlfriend, maybe his wife. I'm not sure what the relationship was, but it was their dog inserted into his wife.
Wow.
And
oh, we're getting canceled.
He said that, and he doubled down. See, we have to get rid of stuff like this. This isn't good. Anyway, that was a moment where like, oh, now we have to finish the scene. Great. How do you now walk yourself through that mentally?
Yeah.
How do you finish a scene with someone who just indicated that they engage in behavior like that?
Yeah. That's.
If you're listening to that person, I hope you've moved on.
Sheesh.
Not in like to
Okay,
the afterlife.
I'm still shocked.
Yeah, that.
Like-
Okay. Wow. Yeah, a lot to unpack.
Yeah, because
Yeah, a lot to unfold.
yeah. So
What's your go-to video right now
Oh.
to get you up?
Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
If not, you'll just edit it out. Whatever. What's your go-to video to get you up right now? Is there one on my phone?
I have. I don't think you guys do this. I have tabs that I never close.
What? Let's see. Pull them out.
No, they're not on my phone.
Oh.
They're on my computer. I have
Do you use
tabs
Chrome?
I do have. I use two different internet. I did this like I'm a fucking from Hawaii. I have two different servers, and on each I have tabs that on one that I have tabs that I never close because they're like my go-to because at where I'm at in my life, I'm like, I just need to go to the ones that I know that I don't have time to be like, let me look. Oh, that looks good. Like just pull up the ones that I know are gonna get me to where I need to be.
Yeah.
And anyway, so
How
I
many
do.
times a day do you visit these tabs?
I'm
a very healthy amount.
I think that's a good answer because it's also accurate. It's a healthy amount. I mean,
Yeah.
should I kind of wean myself off? Yes, because I do. Anyway, yes. So yeah, I think it's a healthy amount. What those scenes are, they're kind of, honestly, looking at them like, I'm looking from the outside, from the inside out. So for you guys, they might be like, what? For me, I think they're very vanilla. I don't think they're anything like. I am obsessed with ass. Always have been.
Of course, baby. Come on now.
I just think when someone has when someone has an ass that just I know,
baby.
When some I like ass. I can't help it. The dick is sort of, if it's there and it looks pretty, because not all dicks are pretty. I think everyone can attest to that.
Yeah. What?
Not all dicks are pretty.
No. And
there are some people out there, and probably maybe a lot of people. If the dick's big, that's all that matters. First, I'm not a big fan of dick, really. But if it's big, that doesn't mean I like it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%. I agree.
And that's for me.
Yeah,
for people that
makes
like
sense.
that, best of luck to you. That's great. Whatever floats your boat. But for me. But not all asses are pretty. Not all assholes are pretty either. If we're gonna get,
I agree. I've seen some gaping holes out there before.
Yeah.
I prefer vanilla type of content, like one-on-one.
Sure.
But
do you?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I do. But I know what's gonna set the bar for me, and my standard is definitely the dumping. A lot of folks love the dumping stuff.
Community
type situations. That is what gets people's rocks off, and I kind of enjoy being able to curate that and do that for them.
This is a really good conversation. I don't know if it's allowed on there. I'm gonna have to look at the rules.
Definitely not on the socials. No.
But it could definitely be on somewhere.
On X, you could put it.
Oh yeah,
if you want to do that
is
thing.
true. Yeah.
Or just even my websites.
Yeah,
We could
that's
talk
true.
about
I don't think TikTok is going to be okay with any of this.
that.
Oh my
TikTok?
God! Yes, I
No,
totally
we'll
forgot
do
about that. This is a really good conversation,
good
though.
time.
Honestly, you're pretty smart. I love it.
Well, yeah.
I want to get
That's why
Just pretty smart.
you're
I'm
very
not a full
smart.
endorsement of my intelligence. Just
the
pretty
glasses
smart.
do make you look smart.
Well,
Also,
I unfortunately need to wear them now. They're not just for.
Oh, they're not.
I'm not like Drew Carey where I wear them and I have.
do you mean like Lauren Boebert?
Lauren Boebert?
Yeah.
She's great.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I'm just.
Okay. I love the fact that she has to wear glasses to make herself look smart. She is actually not prescribed glasses. Allegedly, by the way.
How much more time do we have?
It's up to you.
Yeah, you
Okay.
At least-
Can we? I want to make sure I tackle everything you wanted to talk about though, because you did.
Yeah, it's up to you.
I would like
You
to
can always
talk
come back,
about.
too, so.
Yes, that's true.
That's fair. That's fair.
So there's a couple things that I want to get your perspective on. One of them is religion.
Oh, I was just gonna say, please let me offend so many people. No, I'm pretty good at curtailing and curating my words.
Okay. No, I know you've used some big words that I'm like. Let me open up my thesaurus.
Thesaurus.
My thesaurus.
But were you raised Christian? Catholic?
What's your background?
Yeah, what is your background? Where do you come from?
So I grew up in a really small town. I graduated with. Guess how many people I graduated with high school?
5.
12.
You said 5. You said 12. You guys were a lot closer than most people. Somebody was like 200. No, I graduated with 73 people.
Wow. Okay.
Which is, that's a
We're
small,
close.
That makes sense.
I mean, you guys were being comically small, but it's a small town and it's very suburban, and I did not grow up with any push towards a lot of things, and that included religion. My family wasn't a-religious. They just never were like, oh, you have to believe or you don't have to believe. We just never really talked about it.
That's cool.
And so I was able to, rather, I would say, luckily, find my own way.
Nice. I think that's very important. Because when people talk about grooming, they leave out religious grooming. The fact that your parents are making their kids do things because the Bible is telling them to, that's literally grooming. You're grooming your child to behave that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's unlike grooming, the unfortunate victims that experience that, at least in the sexual sense, they unfortunately will end up, as unfortunate as they'll commit those then grooming tactics onto other people.
Yeah.
They'll continue that, and that's just the unfortunate nature of that behavior, where it creates this Stockholm syndrome, and also you just replicate it because it's just a part of who you are in a way. And like religion, which I think is, for me now, I'm not speaking for these two other gentlemen here. Religion for me is just a poison.
Oh shit!
What?
It's a poison.
I'm gonna. Okay, I think
But
it's
I can
partial.
unpack that for you. But
Go ahead.
Actually, yes. Tell me why religion.
Hold on. Do you
is
feel like we live in a simulation,
like The Sims?
like the Matrix?
I'll give you my Neil deGrasse Tyson answer. My opinion is no, but you can't scientifically rule that out because it's plausible.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
No,
Okay, because you sound educated.
no. I do a good impression of one.
Okay. Well, you're selling it off pretty well.
Oh, thanks,
So.
thanks. Yes, yeah.
But why do you think religion is poison?
A few reasons, but mostly it's again. You don't even. I'll bring it up just to reference it, but then I'll quickly go past it because it's usually what people go to, and then people are like, oh, you always go to the past. The historical calamities that religion has oversaw, and when religion was given free reign, you saw what it did. Mm-hmm. Scores of so many generations of people killed, maimed, kept in destitution because they didn't believe either in the right God, in any God, or because they just didn't do things that a God that, whatever book you want to follow, they didn't follow to the letter. And it was being interpreted by other people who then inflicted so much devastation on it. I mean, it's just, anyway, so you can do that, but you don't even need to. You just, anytime religion crops up, you just see what it does to people's minds. It gives them this masqueration of, I'm a humble person, but I'm then going to impart knowledge that I couldn't possibly possess as a human onto you. It's so self-serving, because I've had people tell me, and I'm sure they tell other people, where they'll say, God helped me out on my math test, or God helped me do this, that, and the other. It's like, do you know how many children under the age of 5 died today in Africa? Mm-hmm. Thousands, because they didn't have adequate water or food. But God, some celestial being that you've elected to follow, decided to intervene in your life and help you on your fucking math test. But not that kid that died at the age of 3 in Africa. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so self-serving. It's arrogance to me to think that God, or any being that is all-powerful, all-knowing, is just gonna intervene in your life and just in your life. And it's just, that's me, and I can't help but get angry about this, because there's that, and then there's where you'll have people be like, oh, your child dying of cancer. Well, it's what God wanted. How can you say that to
crazy.
Someone?
Yeah.
It's in God's plan, and they should be okay with it. That's fucking disgusting to me. But those are somewhat anecdotal. But it's that critically, and this is why I really don't like it, is that it stops people from thinking. Because it gives you answers that you can't possibly have, that even science doesn't have. And this is where we get into the crossroads of science and religion. Because I do think that you can have both. There are plenty of scientists that are religious. But I just think that ultimately removing religion from one's life, I think ultimately frees you. But that's me.
You know, I never thought about it that way, but it makes sense. What you're saying literally makes sense. Because when I think about religion, I think about the things it did for my mom, which was it helped her get out of drug addiction and a lot of stuff. And then you say these things, but I'm like, that's actually true. My mom was able to do it on her own by believing in like a greater power. Yeah, a higher power.
Right.
But when you compare everything else that the church or churches or denominations have done, it has been pretty regressive, right? Like we had when they were doing, what was it, the Roman Inquisition? Is that
the Crusades?
The Spanish, the Crusades. We have like people burning alleged witches, right? We have the way they had slavery in the U.S. and they literally said it like they were Christians.
I was just actually talking about just that particular facet of like the slavery religion thing. The Bible justified slavery and also was a justification to emancipate the slaves. How could it be possibly both?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
it just indicates that the Bible can be used
It could be manipulated.
as
Yeah.
any way. But then people say, well, it's just the way people interpret it. No, have you read the damn thing? Have you read the Quran? It's in the words itself.
Yeah.
You don't need to. I wonder what they mean there. It's pretty definitive.
Yeah.
There are some things that are somewhat wishy-washy, and it's not to say that there aren't some beautiful stories in the Bible. For Christ's sake, there are. They're
But
great.
here, if we want to talk about the whole Bible,
Yeah.
right? The Old Testament is the Old Testament, right? That's when
vengeful,
Jesus was
wrathful
yes,
God,
when
yes.
Jesus was crucified, right? Like he came to fulfill the prophecy and basically complete the Old Testament. My issue with Christianity right now is the fact that they look at the Old Testament and they're like, "Oh, see, you're doing this, so you're going to hell." When Jesus himself said, "There's two things that I'm telling you to do, and that is to love God and love your neighbor as yourself." Those are the two things.
Yeah.
And when you think about Christians and they come up with all these things that you can't do this thing, you can do that because the Bible says, that's not true. You have to look at the 10 Commandments, which were written in stone, and base your life on that. If you want to judge people, it's basically that what you're going to judge people with, because they were written in stone, they were given to the people of like the Israelites, and basically that carries over, right? When we look at the
They left out some pretty big rules in those 10 Commandments, though, didn't they?
yes,
They mentioned nothing of slavery.
exactly,
Nothing.
but
Slipped his mind.
Okay, but okay, if to me the way I was raised is you look at the 10 Commandments,
Yeah.
and then it's not just those words that are there. There's more context in that. So slavery, right? One commandment says, "Love your neighbor as yourself." Do you want to be a slave? No. So then why would you make someone a slave? Right? You're not loving your neighbor as yourself. Right? Like when it says thou shalt not kill, right? It's not just like murder someone. It's also you hurting someone with your words, right?
I think that's a very charitable overview of what those can be interpreted as, but I see what you're saying. Yes, I do.
So the way my mom raised me was like that. It's
Sure.
like you look at those 10 Commandments, and it's not just that, like fornication, things like that. It's like it's not just that. If you look at someone inappropriately, if you treat someone inappropriately, like you're catcalling or all that, you're basically breaking that
Or
commandment.
dog howling.
Yeah.
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 But so to me, so that's why I viewed Christianity as like a good thing, but I can see why it's done so much harm to so many different cultures, right? And it has erased so much knowledge, because back in the day, and I mean even now with our current government and everything, they're trying to get rid of information that they think does not align with their take on the Bible.
But that's how government is in general. Just left or right, they all want the power. You know, it's all power-hungry individuals who think that their plan is better. That's it. That's all this is.
True.
That
I
makes
just wish Christians would go to like actually being Christians and actually follow the Bible the way it is, and not just nitpick things like, oh, homosexuality is bad, but eating shrimp is okay.
But they did that when they did nitpick the Bible. That was you referenced them earlier. That was called the Crusades. They were following exactly what the Bible said, especially in the Quran. And we still see that, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for us because of where we live geographically, but for large swaths of the world that live under the oppressive thumb, I'm going to say it only because, I mean, I'm saying it, you guys can decide to keep this in or not, of Islam, where how many, I mean, do we need to, even bring up the unfortunate lives that so many of those people that live in those countries live, where they have to wear, the women especially, have to live as second-class, third-class citizens, and it's justified, and
Well, we're kind of headed that way here.
I brought it there, but like it's just And for the I hate apologists for any type of subject, but the religious apologists and for whatever derivation of religion, the people that apologize away all that bullshit, like, oh well, I mean, it's your Western, white, viewing of the, it's just like, you don't need to do all that. You just read the Quran and you understand exactly what it's telling people to do. And they still, and many of those countries take that religion way too seriously, to the unfortunate destitution of so many people that will live their entire lives for however long they are.
Yeah.
Did the U.S. have something to do with that?
With what?
With those countries being that extreme?
No.
Because I thought that
religion predates America, but
but like a lot of those places were very free.
The city. Well, I mean, the city of Baghdad, which was the bastion of intellectual thought and progress for so long, the ancient city of Baghdad, it was called something else. But then a sultan.
Samaria, not Samaria. What was it called?
Babylon.
Cradle civilization.
Is that Babylon?
Well,
Babylon.
No. The modern. It wasn't in. No, it's modern day Iran. But the city of Baghdad used to be. This is going back.
King Solomon.
1600 years. But it was a city where it was like what Paris was in the Renaissance. It was when free thinkers, or what Athens was in ancient Greece, free thinkers would go there. Writers, artists, mathematicians would flock to that. But then when, I forget which sultan king, I believe it was a sultan, passed a ruling that was all outlawed. And then religion took over and they never looked back. And they've essentially lived in the dark ages, socially, politically, economically, ever since.
It's crazy.
And that's directly correlated to religion because they take that way too fucking seriously. We need to throw, as a collective race, as a species, religion into the trash heap of history. Because again, it is religion in all of its forms is humanity's first attempt at explaining the unexplainable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was the science before science. And it makes sense. It was our first attempt. You're going to get some shit wrong.
It does make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, where does the sun go at night? Oh, well, we don't even know. We revolve around the sun. Or wait, no, the sun revolves around... but you know what probably is? It's probably a guy who's like moving it forward. Oh, that's what it is.
Right.
It's a guy in a chariot.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The earth is flat.
How is that come back? People actually, that has come back. That has come back in droves.
Yeah.
That people are like,
earthers.
it's weird that when you're on the ocean, you look at the ocean, that it's flat all the way to the horizon. You don't, really?
Yeah.
But it is flat all the way to the horizon. I'm just kidding.
It is, but that's to the untrained eye who don't understand that
I'm
the
just
curvature.
kidding.
So people have asked me before, but I've never gotten a chance to ask you on the van. What is your PR, personal record, squat-wise?
Like, people have specifically asked about that?
Yeah, and they also asked another question, but that'll be my follow-up.
Is it because like they think like
you work out constantly.
Oh,
I mean, you have big
insane.
muscles.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be shocked.
So squats are an exercise. I don't know if it's just because of my physiology. I just don't. I hurt myself a lot when I do them. So trying to like incrementally do the weight thing with squats, it's an exercise in futility for me. So I've just phased them out. I've added them in, but I've always ended up phasing them out. Like, to answer your question now, with all that preamble aside, when I was doing them actively and I was trying to get really good with them and the weight, I would do like 2 45s on each side and then like a 25, and I would do that like 3 or 4 times. But that's anyone that can do more than that, I tip my hat to them, because fuck, 3 plates and more. If you're doing squats like that, I see guys at the gym that do like 3 or 4 plates, and I'm like, and then I'm like, I see them do it 8 times, and they're like,
wow,
and I'm like, with perfect form, and I'm like, fuck,
damn.
It's impressive. It's the best exercise you can do.
Squats.
It's the best exercise you can do. I mean, arguably, it trains everything.
Yeah.
And if you can do them well, fuck. Anyway, sorry.
What is your body fat percentage?
I don't know, because I would imagine, like, I guess it's well trotted out that, the BMI index is not a great indication of someone's overall physical health.
Of course.
Because, like, I'm sure, like, they would do mine. They're like, well, you're one. I'm 153, I think now. They're like, oh, well, for your height, you should be 138. I'm like, so technically for them, I'm overweight.
Right.
I don't know what mine is. I don't know.
Okay.
Should I throw out a number?
No, not at all. We'll have to ask you that question next time whenever you come back.
Okay.
And the third question was, how do you get such a great physique? do you have like personal trainers? Are you a personal trainer yourself, or you just started working out and just started snowballing that way?
So really quick history. I didn't go to a gym until I was 21. I worked out at home, and I enjoyed that. And then when I moved to New York City, I'm like, well, I can't do that anymore. So I went to the gym, and then through a lot of trial and error, and really kind of like just learning from people, and also just a lot of whatever. I've just consistency. Now to answer your question, consistency is your best friend in so many ways in life. And it's not just consistency by itself. You have to also make sure you understand what you're doing as far as, incremental weight training, training to failure. I work out a lot, and maybe overly so. But like I don't do steroids. I've never done them.
So you're natty.
I am. And I just, again, it's also my physiology. Like, obviously people could probably do the same thing as me. Maybe they would look better, they'd look worse. It's just the way that, on the spectrum. But, yeah, so I'm not a personal trainer. I actually, just don't think I'd have the patience for it.
Yeah.
Because, training someone that has no idea what they're doing, I would be like, I'd understand, but I'd be like, can you fucking goddamn it.
You gotta be patient.
Get
out of my way. I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
And how is your new streaming going?
Yeah.
How's that going?
Are you live streaming?
So yeah, thanks for
like
asking,
gamer?
Jordan.
Of course.
So yeah, I do streaming now on Twitch. Dantasmo pretty much on everything. Shameless self plug, but yeah, and I'm doing podcasting myself. It's doing what I've done for so long, and then now reinventing yourself in a way. You're starting from not from zero. Certainly, I'm not going to tell the sob story like I'm fucking I don't have anything there, but it is a different audience.
Yeah, for sure.
And there is some overlap. And when you have, a higher reach, there'd be more, but it is a different audience.
Are you doing it shirtless?
No, because
you gotta
that
do it shirtless.
flouts. Willem said the same thing. Willem was on. I don't know. He was.
Willem? Sorry.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
You know who Willem is?
Sorry, I thought you said William, but I'm guessing it's a drag queen.
One of the most famous ones, and she's one of the best ones too. Just funny as fuck too. That's why I like him. Yeah, he told me the same thing. He's like, "Why aren't you doing a shirtless?"
Yeah,
Twitch?
You gotta do it shirtless, a little bit of oil. I've seen it on TikTok, and those things go crazy.
Yeah.
But that's TikTok. Twitch.
But he's a human.
Twitch flouting some of the TOA of Twitch. I think you can do that because you can do hot tub streams on there.
But I think it would be like a good idea to just do it shirtless. You know what the new trend is?
Yeah.
Pokemon cards on wrapping Pokemon cards with your abs.
It is.
With your abs?
Like on your abs, basically.
Oh.
Like.
See,
Okay.
I'm so old. I just thought that opening Pokemon cards would be enough of an interest, but now you have to fucking doll it up with sex.
More work.
It is kind of crazy how men have slowly kind of sexualized themselves to the point where
that's what
now
makes
they're
money, right?
objectified. They're objects now.
Oh yeah, that's what they.
Because like before, it used to just mostly be women, and now it's just like the men.
Yeah, I guess they were sexualized in different ways. Women overly so, probably in the early ages of Golden Age Hollywood. Men, they had their own what they expected them to look like and all that. That whole history of there, by the way, is fascinating. How they wanted men to look, and then it morphed, and then whatever. But that's fascinating.
Chiseled, and now they're all twinks.
What?
Yeah. Now
Are they twinks?
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet, he's a twink allegedly. All these guys are young twinks now.
young with the hair and the
little swoop, yeah.
Yeah, the fucking
compared to what? Brock Hudson, old Hollywood, like
Vin
Pierce
Diesel?
Brosnan.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, I think it's become more in vogue to be the
Tall, dark, and handsome.
the smoldering, thinner framed kid.
Spider-Man.
Okay, but Spider-Man was always a twink. But look at
No, I
Superman.
wouldn't say a
Yeah,
twink.
Spider-Man was always a twink 5.
I think maybe because now we have Ben Affleck as Batman. He's just
yes.
a turd.
What? What?
He's not Batman.
He is Batman. Henry Cavill is Superman.
Not anymore.
Okay.
True, not anymore. They got like a
He might be
Tamil
the next
version of
James
it.
Bond. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
I think the guy
hope
is like
they-
good
yeah, he's
looking,
super
has a
hot.
nice body, big pectoral muscles.
Yeah, I know a lot of the girlies would love him, Henry Cavill, to be. James Bond.
Is it? Here's where I might be controversial again. I'm kind of like going back on what I said. Like, I like Pretty. I think he's a handsome guy. I've never been attracted to him. I get why
you're
people,
top.
I get
Yeah,
why people, I
I
get why
same.
people find him
'Cause you're
attractive. I get why people find him attractive, but I look at him and I'm just like, I find him attractive because he likes the things that I like. Like he loves video games and he likes, Warhammer, and he's an actual nerd as opposed to the people that profess to be one and then they're like,
Elon
what's
Musk.
that again?
Don't sue me.
Well, he's an actual nerd.
He pays people to play for him.
Well, the Diablo. Are you talking about the Diablo
Yes.
fiasco? Yes. No. That is
I
something
don't know what
was.
that is. Okay.
Should I fill you in really quickly?
Yeah, go for it.
There's the video game Diablo.
Yeah, Diablo. Yeah.
Basically, Elon
He was-
Musk allegedly
he-
pays someone to
So-
increase his account.
No way.
There's different ways you can play the game, and there's a hardcore version of the game where if you die once, the character's over. You can't use it.
Oh, you can't ever
It's
play-
it's gone. All the items you've accrued, anything, all the levels, whatever. So he made a top of the level hardcore character, like playing on the most brutal difficulty. And he was live streaming it, and he was talking about the things he was doing. But the people that actually play the game were noticing things that if you played the game
You would already
to that
know
level,
what
you would
to-
not be doing those things.
Oh god, like
And
amateur hour.
Yeah, and they called him out, and then he eventually, surreptitiously was like, "Okay, I did have some help." It's like, well, we knew that.
Yeah, of course.
There was also once, I think he was doing a press conference and his account was active.
Well, then they, yeah. I mean, that was always like the logistic question for me. Is like, how do you run all these big, all of his companies,
He's
and then
definitely not
still
running
find
Tesla.
time to get a character to that level?
Oh.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. But he, he's positioned himself so fucking well, and that takes skill. It does.
What do you mean?
To position yourself that well where you've become practically indisposable to the sitting president of the free world.
I thought he was
That's
the president, allegedly.
President Musk. Oh god.
I think that's more or less like a thing that people say just to kind of discredit him. I mean, and I think that's, he does do a lot of things that are certainly not what he's doing things that he should not be doing.
Yes.
But also I do think that there is a part of him that does think that he's doing something that's beneficial.
For himself, yes.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, if you look at what he did with the FAA,
Yes.
right? He's like, let's cancel that contract with Verizon and let's give it to Starlink. That is enriching
There
yourself.
is a lot of not self. What's that called? Help me out.
Self-depredation, self-indulgence.
No, not
welfare,
self at all.
welfare
Corruption.
queen.
It's a conflict of interest.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
conflict
conflict
of interest,
of interest that are there that it's obvious, and that for any small, you wouldn't even be able to do. I mean, you can't even work at a Starbucks and be like, hey, can I run the cash register and also be doing? It's like, no, you
Right,
you can't run a rival coffee shop and work here.
Yep.
Like you couldn't do
Yeah.
that. That would never fly. You would be fired on the spot. It wouldn't make. How is
Conflicts
it
of
okay
interest, yeah.
at the highest level?
Yep. I mean,
of,
there's also the thing where he's impregnating through
IVF.
Okay, he's not getting LAID. He's basically impregnating his employees.
Well, they have consensual
Yes,
agreements.
but you do that at any other company, you're fired. You're not
I
supposed
think
to
that
be.
depends. It depends on the company. It depends on what the rules are for the company. But his I don't know how many kids he has now. 12.
No, he has like 14.
14 and
Oh, okay. I mean,
he just had
counting.
two baby mamas were on
Lord.
on Twitter saying, "Help me," or "Your kids need health care."
I mean,
yeah.
What someone does in their personal life, I try not to comment on because that's their life. But with such a high profile life that he has, you can't help but know it. But am I a fan of having multiple kids? No, but I mean, okay.
I mean,
you
can do
know why
whatever he
he's doing it
wants.
though, right? You know why he's doing it.
To
Yes.
repopulate the earth.
Because he does think that, the downward trend in births, it spells doom for us.
Yeah.
And
should worry about
I think
Africa.
I fundamentally disagree with him on that. I think that, yes, having a higher birth rate as opposed to death rate does keep things afloat.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm also okay with not there being that many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I agree.
I mean, that's cool with me. That's fine. But if you think about it, I also feel like he has the intention of one of his kids being the next future president. I think that's what he's trying to do.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He has he's smart, right? Like
we have Barron. It's gonna be the Barron show in the next.
You think it's gonna be
10
Trump,
years.
Barron Trump? Yeah.
actually,
Sheesh.
his son, the one that's like allegedly addicted to cocaine.
Junior.
Don Junior. I think
it was Eric.
he's
I thought it was Eric. I thought Eric was the one who was.
no. Well,
Allegedly,
they're both-
guys.
they both
Allegedly,
could
we have to
potentially
say
be
that.
in it.
Entertainment purposes only.
But basically, he said that
Jeez.
he's thinking about running in 2028.
I mean, the dynasty is set up, so I mean, they it's
just like the
ball's
Bushes
on the thing.
and yeah.
This is a little different though, because if you think about it, if Trump says jump left, all his fan base will literally jump left. If you compare a MAGA person to a Swiftie, it's literally the same thing, but just opposite.
Yeah.
It's the same behavior, where Taylor Swift could do no wrong, and by the way, she can't do no wrong.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's literally the same thing if you compare it. It's not like politics
yeah, I
anymore.
mean-
It's like stand face.
It's well documented the sycophantic nature of his followers, where he is viewed as this Christ-like being. That again, I mean, a lot of the things that he does and says are completely ridiculous, and they need to be heavily scrutinized. And thankfully, there are so many people that do that. I'm also of the mind that we also have to celebrate some things that that I think are, just because he's saying them or doing them, if someone else was doing them, we'd be like, oh, that's good. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if it was attached to someone else, the achievements that he has done, it would be revered. Like, oh my God, he's.
Can I get an example? Just because based on the market and everything, I'm like, bro.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that's I mean,
Can I get an example?
I can give you an example, yeah, but like just to speak to that, like just when he does those interviews, I mean, he has always been a salesman, and he talks to people like a car salesman.
Yeah. I mean, he had a Tesla
Used
yesterday.
cars.
That Tesla commertal.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Did you see the
on the White
paper?
House lawn? Yes, I
Oh
did.
my God.
It looked like it was AI. Like it was
Yeah.
so like the handwriting was so clean and crisp.
It's a Sharpie. That's how he writes.
Well, we have Sharpies too, guys.
But
Please. Sure.
but I would actually like an example.
Of something that I think that if someone else did, people would be like, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've removed myself from this as best I can, because again, it's just so cacophonous at this point.
Yep.
And having to be either for or against, and like, it's just, there's so many people talking about it. But I would say one thing that I think that was good that he did, God, that people are already gonna be like, you think he did something good?
Cancelled.
I do think that a higher emphasis on what we're actually spending our money on, I think, is a good thing, and not being the world's policeman.
Okay.
Because America is certainly, and people have said that for a long, especially the people on the left. They said, I mean, at least the ones that are brave enough to admit it, we can't be the world's policeman anymore.
So though
Yeah.
I will agree with you on some things, but I will mostly disagree.
Now, will he actually achieve that, or is
yeah.
that just
So I don't
words,
think
but-
I don't think we should be policing a lot of the world. However, we do have a lot of allies, and I think
Yeah,
we
there's
should
that
be
too,
backing
yeah.
them up. If he's saying let's not be the police of the world, but yet he's saying Canada's our 51st state. Like literally, he's calling Trudeau.
His
a-
method of getting
a
there, I don't
governor.
agree with. Yeah, no, that creating enemies from allies is not the way to do it, and creating this trade war
But
with
again-
tariffs is a terrible way to go about it.
He's not reducing policing though. If you think about it,
No, he's not.
He's literally creating more enemies and
He is
talking about
he is.
invasion
Again,
of other countries.
he's not. He's delivering it terribly, but he's creating a dialogue where at least we can talk about reducing the number of troops we have in all these other countries that, again, I mean, and I'm not talking about countries that maybe need defense. I'm talking about countries like Germany. Mm-hmm. We still have tens of thousands of troops over in Europe, in Germany. Why are they? Where's that? That's cost us a lot. I mean, there's a reason why the defense budget is $850 billion or something dollars.
$1 trillion.
And let's make it clear here, the Democrats are the ones that have been calling for that to be cut.
They could do a hell of a lot more. The Democrats, to me, are some of the most spineless people you could ever hope to align yourself with.
Keep going. Why?
Because again, it's even like them. I'll point to the most recent example, like, that people were talking about when they were sitting during Trump's State of the Union, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and they're all just in that chamber with fucking signs like "This is the 1960s," as if that's going to inspire change. What the what is this? None of this is normal. Do something. This is all performative.
Yeah.
I agree with like the one guy that actually got thrown out. Do what he did.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, don't just.
This is just.
You know
having
what?
the kumbaya singing like.
They should probably call their
right.
senators. Maybe.
But those are the people that we have elected to be there in that State of the Union.
They keep doing the same thing, expecting
gimmicks.
things. The game has changed, and they're still thinking this is the 1960s, and you have to. If we all hold hands, we'll get shit done. No. Trump has changed the paradigm so much. Yeah. You can't. He really is Teflon Don. You can't do or say anything that's going to stick to him. The Republicans, say what you want about them, and there's a lot to be said. They were systematically getting things ready to go, and the Democrats let it happen every single time at every level 100%. Because they hyper-focused on niche topics that ultimately did them in because a majority of this country were like, I don't give a fuck about that. Mm. And they doubled and tripled down on them, and it ultimately cost them elections that have now literally regained every single form of government back to the Republicans. And that is almost squarely at the feet of the Democrats. So that's why I'm not one of them.
If you think about it too, it's like you look at the leftists, right? Like the very
lefties?
Leftist.
Oh, okay.
So you have like the Democrats, right? Like they tend to be a little bit more moderate left. And then you have like the leftists, which are kind of like the people that were...
Like AOC?
No, AOC is more... I think she's a centrist.
No, she's like a liberal.
I think
she's way more that than centrist, yeah. Centrist is like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton was center right, wasn't she?
No, she was a centrist.
She was like center.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well...
Well, compared to now, they call her a fucking wacko liberal. I mean, at this point, shit.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
The Dems...
The bullseye has changed.
A lot has changed, yeah. So you have the Dems, right? And then you have this other group of the party that falls within the liberal umbrella, and they're attacking the Dems. So I think one of the biggest things that really hurt them too was the fact that you had these centrist Democrats that were saying, if this man gets elected, he's literally going to throw out the whole Constitution. He's literally going to be doing all these unconstitutional things. Mm-hmm. And then you had them trying to court some of the right people, some of the moderates, right? But you had the MAGAs attacking them with like culture stuff. And then you had the leftists also attacking the Dems.
I mean, they're the party in power. If they can't sit there and create a plan or a path to winning, that's their fault. They dropped the ball. Joe Biden did, Kamala.
Yeah. And I think they did. But the biggest difference here is that Republicans will fall in line.
Right. Because
it doesn't matter what he does, they will fall in line.
Right. Even though he has, multiple wives and he's not a Christian. What is he, a Protestant or something? Or
I have no clue. He doesn't even go to church.
Well, whatever the heck he is. Mm. You know, a lot of Republicans they're going to shut up and fall in line because they want the power.
Yeah. And Democrats are the opposite.
They are the opposite because they are like cats and they all worry about their own little corner.
Or dogs howling.
Or like dogs. They all worry about their own like little pet project as opposed to like being as a collective. But I will say this, and I this is where it might sound weird. I feel bad for Trump in the sense that I hope he doesn't actually think that the people that are under him actually like him.
Oh yeah, they don't.
they don't.
They don't.
Yeah.
And it's just
Allegedly.
and hopefully he's smart enough to understand that they are near him and whatever. And yes, there's some exceptions that I think just are completely, just whatever reason they follow him like he's a cult leader. Well,
I think
you can make that case
allegedly.
But they, as Juven just said, they want something, and they know that remaining next to the God King will grant you that, or at least get you closer to what you actually want.
Yep.
So if this guy, and I think he might actually, and to his detriment, think that they actually like him. It's like, no, they don't. I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
But
Makes sense.
Yeah.
there's
I mean,
the Dems
that does
are.
make
I have
sense.
a lot of things to say about the Dems that I think I'm
I will say, by the way, just coming clean here. I used to be a Republican, and now
that's okay.
and
What?
now I'm more of a moderate. But obviously, in this election, I voted for Kamala, right? Because I think.
Did you ever vote for Trump?
What?
Did you ever vote for
It's a
Trump?
simple question.
Did both of y'all ever vote
Anyways,
for Trump?
I never voted for Trump.
Anyways, going back to the topic.
Wow, this is done. We had 2 episodes. I'm out.
So, can I press you on that? Did
Yeah, press up.
Did you
What?
Did you vote from the first time?
No, I didn't.
Against Hillary?
I didn't vote.
See, I don't know if I believe you, but that's okay, because again, that's personal. I'm going to make
Oh,
the
yeah.
I didn't vote.
Yeah.
That's almost. I mean, this is
Did
California.
I support him? Yes. Yes, I supported him. The first time. Because I thought he was going to disrupt things.
What did you
Right.
think? What did you think he was going to disrupt?
I thought that I was kind of tired of just the politics just being
A lot
all
of people
about
felt that
these
way at the time.
politics.
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah.
And I think the biggest issue, and this is where the Republicans did it pretty well, all the blame fell on the Democrats. If you think about it, like, you're in power, you didn't do anything. But why didn't they do anything? Because you have the filibuster, right? You have these things that prevent people with, not a majority, because they didn't have like the 60 votes, but somewhat a majority.
Well, Obama had a
Not-
super majority. They had what, like 61 senators?
But they
or
weren't
something?
able to pass a lot of things.
They did. They did a lot.
They did, but they did not get everything they wanted. They had to make concessions. For example, the ACA,
But-
it was a different bill, and then Republicans started adding things
They-
into it, and then that's how they passed it.
They again, and this is the hallmark of the Democrats, and this goes back to the Obama administration and maybe even earlier. Obama, especially the Obama administration, they should have played way more hardball.
Yep.
Yeah.
They tried to be way too democratic.
Yep.
They tried to be way too okay, it's
Moderate in the center.
No, and they did it
Yeah.
even up until the end. And I know that during Obama's first term, he had to play a little bit more of the politic game because he wanted to make sure that he was a 2-term president.
Yeah.
But once he got that second term, the game should have been game on.
Yep.
Yeah.
But instead, all the way to the end, he had to walk back things when he should have just said he pushed him through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember at the end when, towards the end of his tenure, during his second term, when he wanted to nominate
Merrick Garland.
all that, and they were like, "You can't." They made up that.
Yeah.
They made up that rule. You
Yeah.
can't nominate a Supreme Court nominee this late. No, you can't. Completely made up. And guess what he did? Okay,
did.
you're right.
Rolled over.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
He should have been tapping people on the shoulder, including Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Then you need to start thinking about retirement,
Yeah.
and should have stacked that court.
Yep.
But no, he wants to play it the traditional way,
And
and
this-
that's what Dems always do. Well, if we play it straight and narrow, that's like, remember when Michelle Obama said, like, when they go low, we go high.
No. She
How about
revised
that?
that now. She revised
She
it.
did revise it.
Yeah,
Okay,
she
well
said,
that's good. And it's not about.
I think it's gone so much culture, like, it's culture politics now. Like,
Yeah, now it is.
the left is more of like, hey, I see you, I respect you, right? You have these beliefs. The right is like, you're gay, you're going to hell. You're an immigrant, or you're brown. Do you have your papers? Are you from here?
Do you think that that's actually what you think that how people see it? Do you think that's actually what's happening?
I think there's a lot of,
I think
of
both,
that that's
yeah.
happening. I think it's both.
Okay.
But I see it more. I've never seen a leftist, like a Democrat, ask someone like for your papers. Like,
No, they just do it in secret. Like,
Well,
Joe Biden had the most deportations of any
but
president.
okay, no. But no one is against deportations.
Yeah.
They're against.
Oh, there are plenty that are.
But again, we're breaking this down to like just simple topics, right? There's more than that. no one is against actual criminals being deported.
Right.
Right? There's people that migrate here that are hardworking people, that are paying taxes, that are contributing to society, that have built families here, have kids here, have grandkids here.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it okay for a grandmother that has a clean record, that was brought here as a child illegally, grew up here, has kids, their kids have jobs, they're doctors, nurses, teachers, whatever. Is it okay for her to be deported?
I personally feel like Obama and Biden should have done citizenship path. I understand DACA, but again, that's great, but I feel like maggots, their first thing, their line of counter is always, well, they broke the law coming here in the first place, so they are a criminal. But there are a lot of hardworking people who do pay a lot of taxes and who have created tons of businesses, kind of like Elon Musk. You know what I mean? Like,
did you know he was actually here illegally?
Yeah, exactly. He was here illegally.
For a time, and then he was able to,
But because he lied.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lied on that application. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why is they're asking him about that?
To answer your question, I do not feel like they should deport hardworking people. I feel like
deport the criminals.
There should be a path to citizenship or deportation. One or the other. Pick a struggle.
Well, like ICE, again, they are targeting people that they consider to be high risk, and the criminality rate is high with these people. Now, then you start getting into the conversation of, well, what is that crime specifically? Because there are some people that have been, and at least, when you talk about historically, you could point to examples that are happening now, and there certainly are plenty that are coming out. But there are people that, were contacted or, potentially even deported for a drug infraction they committed 10 to 12 years ago. And then for like something like weed. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think, even though that it's a criminal offense, at least in some jurisdictions, to be deported for something like that, despite, having made, like in the case of this one guy, he, had committed a drug offense with weed or whatever the hell it was, and he served his time with that, and then he got out. He started a business.
That's what it was?
What?
Because I did see the story where this guy basically had served his time and everything. Yeah. And he just got deported. I think it was like last week.
It wasn't him though. This guy did not get deported. But that probably did happen. As unfortunate as that is. But yeah, it's a conversation, a few different ones. But they targeting people that do come here. I think that it is, they come here legally. That's the thing. But they overstay their visas, or they have no intentions of ever leaving. And some of them, maybe a majority of them, again, I don't have the literature in front of me, and I haven't read it in a minute, but there are some people that have even applied for, asylum, and they're getting this treatment, which again, if you're leaving your country because you don't feel safe there, I think it's wholly irregular. And it's to just throw them out because they shouldn't be here, I think is
Also, it is legal to cross the border.
It is.
And then yourself, present yourself to customs or like border patrol and say you're claiming asylum.
Yes.
That's the way it's done.
But again, I do think that the border needed to have it needed to be refined, because again, it was a little too open,
Was it open? I don't know. Have you ever gone to TJ?
I have.
Many times. Was there a line?
There was. But this.
So the border's not open.
This is all before the pandemic.
Yeah, but even before the pandemic, it's like when people say the border's open, it's not really open. Like, you still go through customs.
Well, yeah, but like even but the customs it tends to be a joke. Like many of the times, I wasn't even asked for my passport.
But that doesn't mean it's an open border. That means those people are not doing their job.
It's certainly more lax than other things, but
but those people are just not doing their jobs then. And usually ICE, it's overseen by people that are usually conservative.
The ICE isn't doing the border stuff.
Or the border cross. What is it? CP? What is it?
CBP.
Yeah.
Customs Border Protection.
Again, just to be clear, I think a lot of what we're seeing here, I don't agree with.
No.
But. No, but to that full stop. It's just people. I just think that there's a lot of hysterics around a lot of topics these days. Yeah. So anything that isn't falling in line with, you either 100% agree with me or you 100% disagree, any sort of mediation between those two, people just are like, oh, then you're blah blah blah. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, for fuck's sake.
Well,
Jesus
I'm trying to
Christ.
think of what he's actually doing that I can agree with, but I mean he's tanking the market, which I don't agree with.
Yeah.
He is. They're cutting. Obviously, they're trying to cut Medicaid and Social
Yeah.
Security and all that stuff. I don't think I pay into Social Security. I have like retirement stuff.
Yeah, you do. If you pay taxes, you pay into it. Yeah.
Really, even if I don't claim it.
What do you
Like
mean
I
you
don't think.
What do you mean you don't claim
So
it?
basically, I have my own like retirement thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was like Social Security. Wait, so he's cutting my future Social Security?
Everything your
Entitlement programs.
your taxes go to that. They take they take a section of that and pay that into it.
Oh, hell no.
Every tax-paying citizen pays
Everyone
into
pays,
that.
yeah.
See, that's not fair now. If I'm paying for it, that's my money.
Oh yeah, that's why. Why do you think so many people are up in arms about it? Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So I don't
you
agree
thought
with
you had
that.
to like check a box like, oh, I want to pay into Social Security. No, everyone.
Yeah, I
pays
thought
into
that's
it.
what it was.
If you pay taxes, you pay into Social Security.
Oh. Okay. Well, I don't support him on that. I mean, the whole Ukraine thing, I also don't agree with
We
him on
lost
that.
Cuban, by the way.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just
Yeah,
doing one thing.
he's texting. But this is a good conversation. So with Ukraine, right? They agreed.
What other great topic to offend people on?
Ukraine agreed to give up their nukes for protection from Russia, from like the NATO countries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In order for them to be able to protect themselves against Russia if Russia ever decided to attack them. So I think the U.S. deserves some of that. And I understand we shouldn't be policing the world, but if a country is going to say, I'm going to give up my nukes, and you're agreeing to protect me, if this other country right next to me invades me, I think we should hold our agreement.
Let me be clear. Police in the world, I mean, so like in times of like we're just having troops stationed somewhere.
Oh, that's because we're overthrowing the governments there.
Yeah. So like I
Allegedly.
mean like in stuff like that. Like our defense budget is. I mean, people might not like this, and I probably don't like anything we've said today. But the defense
battery's
budget
about to die.
needs to be okay. It's about to die again. But the defense budget needs to be reduced. With Ukraine, that's an obvious place where I think our president needs to be. And I think we've been smart about doing it where us supplying arms and money is where we need to be. But again, I do agree that other people need to be stepping up and helping that too.
Well, and they are, by the way. They are.
Well, they are now.
Like they spent more money though. Like I think Europe sent them more money than we did.
And that's as it should be, because
Before
it shouldn't be
Trump, yeah.
us only doing that.
Yeah.
Or at least
But
doing
it
the
should
most.
be okay. What countries were the ones that told them?
Okay. Other questions. Have you ever bottomed on film before?
I love how. Okay, fine.
No, it's needed. I have. And
Wait,
I,
what?
And I did it. Well, I did it.
These are the questions the fans want to know.
I did it because out of it was I don't like it at all, and I never have, and that's
So you're
just
tall.
that's just my that's all I really like to do. Bottoming was just something that I did on camera because people are always mystified by that, because they're like, wait a minute, you don't like bottoming? You did it all the time for your camera work. It's like, well, I did that because out of necessity, because every person I film with, either they never filmed before or they were straight.
And couldn't
we,
get
we,
it
we
up.
can get it. We can get into that.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, if I'm not bottoming because I'm straight." It's like, bro, you're fucking a guy.
Right.
How straight could you possibly be?
What more masculine thing is than to
Well,
be buddy with your other buddies?
So I answered your question, right?
Yeah.
I have bottom on
Makes sense.
camera. Yeah, I have. More times than I'd care to admit, only because again I had to.
What about off camera?
Off camera, no. It's just not something.
Not your
I mean,
thing.
I've done it. It's just not something that I really enjoy because it's not. It's not where my faculties I think are the strongest.
So like if there was a guy who wanted to date you and said, "Oh, I'm a strict top. You have to bottom for me," that's a deal breaker. You're like, "All right, I'm out."
Yeah, it's probably not going to be for me, only because again, I try not to base my romantic interests based on whether or not someone's a top. I mean, if they are,
Yeah.
I think that's important though.
it's
if-
something.
Sexual compatibility.
It's something to rule in. But for me, like I mean, I don't like to start there because I know a lot of people do. But that to me, I think that just fosters this, the hookup culture that I'm not the biggest fan of.
So
Yeah.
okay, so what do you work as right now?
I'm sorry.
What do you work as right now?
Work as?
Yeah, like what do you do for a living now?
Well, I mean, he's Dante Martin, baby.
Yeah, I do that, and I get paid like through osmosis. No, I mean I still do the OF. I have my own companies where booking, entertainment and all that.
Like a stripper.
Well,
Sorry, not a stripper. What is it?
Well, included, but DJs and all that.
You
like,
DJ?
No, like we book entertainment for events and stuff like
For
that.
nightclubs and stuff like that.
Can someone like dumb it down a little bit for me?
So basically, if you want to do an event, he's
Okay.
going to sit there and contact the club owner, and he already has contacts with them, and tell them, hey, I can get you here, I can get you there. You got to give me a little cut.
We're a third party entertainment company. So like let's say a nightclub wants to do an event. Okay, we need X number of dancers. We need a DJ. We need this and the other.
So you're like a contractor.
We would be operating in a contractual space.
Okay,
yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you still dance?
Dancing, I've sort of phased out of my life. It's just not something that I haven't enjoyed it for a long time, but it was just something to do. Now, I mean, if I did it, I don't enjoy it. I don't dance currently.
What was it like? Because I mean, for me, I love sleeping.
What?
Like,
Wait, but you have to though.
Right, you have to.
You have to sleep though.
yeah, but I love sleeping too.
Because I mean, you could love dance but just not do it. But sleeping, you have to do it eventually.
But I mean, like at the time, right? Your working hours, right? If you're dancing at a club, it's like till what 3 a.m.
Sometimes, yeah.
Like I would
Or
be
later.
in bed with my blankie, you know.
Yeah,
What-
I mean,
what is
it
that like?
fucks up your circadian rhythm like a bitch. I mean, it's just whatever that means to you. I mean, but it messes it up, and it is an addicting lifestyle, and so far as that you're around energy and all and the attention that it fosters. It's addictive.
Did you ever have any experiences where you basically had to push people off, right? Because obviously you're dancing and you're wearing like almost nothing. What is it like when you have people like coming up to you and like feeling entitled just because they have a monetary piece of paper on their hand?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different anecdotes that I could draw on, but I mean, like, it's just it's ultimately people feeling like because you're almost fully naked that they just have because they're giving you money that they have access to you past a few seconds or a few. I mean, say something nice, give me the money, and then be on your way. But for the people that take advantage not only of your time but of your space, where they feel like because they gave you a $5 bill they can talk to you for 10, 15 minutes. That always bothered me.
Yeah.
There were people that, they gave me a 20 once, so that means that they can come up to me multiple times throughout the night.
20? That only buys 2 Chipotle bowls.
It's all about making sure you set your parameters. Like when I first started dancing, it would not be uncommon for me to be like, I'm just going to talk to this person for, whatever. But you have to set your own boundaries with anything. But like, with that, I mean, and just also especially like, what I do, outside of dancing, like, in that world as well, like that's adjacent. People feel like because they've either watched videos of mine or because they have or really like videos of mine, that entitles them to having a correspondence with me. I always appreciate someone say that they enjoyed my work. That never goes away. I think that's fantastic. If someone feels that way, that's fantastic. What I don't like is someone feeling that means that entitles them to my time.
Yeah.
It doesn't. And that's for anyone. Celebrities talk about this, and yes, there's a lot of things to say about celebrities that are not good, but like, just because I like Mariah Carey, it doesn't mean that she owes me anything.
Well, she owes me a new track, because... Look.
I mean, we're all waiting.
Speak on it.
We're all but you get what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
if someone
that
liked
makes sense,
anything that you guys did, like if you guys were a painter, whatever, anything, it doesn't mean that,
Well, I don't paint,
I like your...
so...
Yeah, you do. You're an artist.
You don't get
You're
it.
an artist.
No,
You don't get
you're
it.
talking about the collab
painter.
earlier, the painter.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to bring it back all the time. We're going to bring it back, everybody.
Yeah. But no, so yeah, there's just so many things. Yeah, but yeah, there's so many anecdotes.
Do you feel like the nightclub industry is very competitive compared to the adult OF world?
It's a similar but different beast. I mean, you see a lot of if there was a Venn diagram, there'd be a shit ton of overlap in the middle. Yeah.
So I was having a conversation with Morgan McMichaels the other day.
Who's that?
Do you not know any fucking drag queens,
A drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Just by being alive, you should know who these people are.
And she was giving me like my
Yeah,
flowers.
so I can Google these people.
She was giving me my flowers and just saying,
Yeah.
like it was my first like real conversation with her. Like I've never had that really in-depth conversation with her. And she was just saying, me and her were just talking like drags and corn stars used to be like this together. it always used to be all the male porn stars were like number one at the club, and then drag queens were number two. But now with the explosion of RuPaul's Drag Race, it's kind of like they're number one, and they kind of left the corn stars behind. You know, it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, he does corn, whatever. But yeah, it was.
I thought you were saying corn. I'm like, is he saying corn stars? I love
yeah, porn.
Yeah, I get what
corn
you're saying.
stars. Yeah,
I love it. No, I picked it up.
Yeah. So
yeah,
no, it kind of felt like we're starting to finally balance it out again, and a lot of corn stars are back in the nightclubs, hanging out with the drag queens, and having cocktails and kikiing, and it kind of feels like all this stuff going on right now in the political aspect. That
Never met him.
Oh, right. That people are going out to have fun, but also to express themselves and be happy where they are, who they are,
Sure. Yeah.
and be ready for the next couple of years because it's gonna be a little bumpy ride. So,
Yeah, it will be. By the way, I can't think of a worse way to spend an afternoon than hanging out with a drag queen and a porn actor, just talking. Only because, like, again, it's just.
Do you do drag?
Huh?
Do you do drag?
No, I've never done drag.
Okay, well.
Only because I mean, I do agree with you.
Yeah.
To piggyback on what you're saying, yes, there was a paradigm shift, and I do think that it is equaling out because, again, more so not because I think corn is coming back into the fold. I just think it's just because people are really softening on their. I mean, drag is really kind of like settling in now. It had its high, its peak. And now I think it's like, okay, people are like, okay, we get it. We get it. And I think that's fine. I mean, it's still mega popular, and that's great. And some people elevate it to an art form. Others are...
Yeah.
And that's
I
okay.
guess there's room for everyone.
Not everyone can be a star. And I certainly am not one. So I'm not speaking from...
Oh, please,
I'm
you
not.
are.
I'm
Yes,
not.
you are.
But, like, again, like... You've been to the fucking... I mean, how many rooms have you been in, Giovanni? You've been in a lot. Where
What?
It's all...
In the what?
It's all corn
Rooms.
actors. It's all people that involved in corn.
Yeah.
And you see, like, this untouchable quality that some of them walk around
Oh,
with.
100%. Yeah. There's... Yeah.
And...
You have that.
And you think to yourself, bro, this guy... Really? And the people that I'm attracted to, not in a romantic sense, but like people that have done what I do, I enjoy the people that are very pragmatic about it. They're like, something that I do, I enjoy it. I love talking about it. But the people that like walk around like, I'm the new kid on the or whatever, and like they're mega popular. I'm like, bro, can you even count to 30? Like I can't. Why should I feel intimidated by you? And I don't know, because I don't know if you've experienced this, Juven, or I don't know if have you done corn?
No, he's never been on set. Nothing.
I'm a saint.
Okay.
Allegedly.
I just
Right.
the entitlement that some of these people have. We're like,
Yeah.
Well, my ex was entitled, so I can see that.
I have messaged so fucking many people, and I understand that in any entertainment life, it's going to be a shit ton of no's or no responses, but these kids just like sometimes they're the ones that reach out. Hey, do you want to collab? You follow through, then they ghost you. What the fuck is, bro? Who are these people?
They have no culture.
Well, that's the thing. One thing I am going to say about Dante Martin or Dantesmo,
Dantesmo.
you
that Italiano?
definitely have a great mystique quality to you.
Oh, thanks.
And I definitely feel like in person you're way hotter.
You got big pecs. Yeah, they're nice.
Big pecs, yeah. And you are like super hot, confident, but you're also respectful.
Oh, thanks.
You know what I mean?
Smart.
Like
Don't
try to
forget
be.
smart.
well, yeah, smart, of course. But and people, I think, if they knew that more about you, they would definitely gravitate towards that. And like, damn, okay, wow, he's total package. He has, this, that. I feel like.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah, of
That's kind of
course,
you.
yeah.
I have an idea.
And I've been knowing you for a hot minute now,
Yeah.
and we've worked together multiple times.
Right, right.
And yeah, I feel like you don't give yourself enough credit. Even
Well,
though
that's
you're
kind
being
of-
humble, but
Thank you. I'm respectful of the people that are not only worthy of it, but that also reciprocate it. I wouldn't be doing that if I didn't feel like I was getting that from you.
Yeah,
and you've always been that way towards me. Always been respectful. You're smart about what you do, and I respect people that not only understand the hustle, but they are successful at it, and you spread your love, you spread your wealth, and you're very giving with your time. And I champion anyone that does that and does that well.
Period.
I really mean that. Yeah. Period.
Now you have to say something nice about me too.
I don't.
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
much
man.
about-
You had a boyfriend that howled.
I have an idea.
What, dating show?
Yeah. Would you ever let us do like a blind date type of thing?
to be documented for.
Yes.
God.
Obviously, it has. Yes.
I mean,
because-
it would be an experience. One that I.
Wait, how'd you read my mind though?
I don't know. I think we're just.
But that was literally what. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, yeah, but only if you would document it, because I know
We
that
are documenting it,
I know
yes.
that it would be a rat race.
A rat race.
Yeah, because I mean, it would just be a social experiment, just meant to be for entertainment, and I'm
Yes.
totally fine with that.
Because there's been 3 people sitting on this couch that are single. And I say 3 because I'm also single. Are you single? I don't know.
No, he's fucking.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I knew that, but I don't know what
He's rocked
what we're
down.
saying.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like it seems like there's a lot of single people out there, and I would love to try to play a matchmaker. I feel like we
spin-off
have a
show.
good idea.
There we go.
Would you let us set you up on a blind date? It would be a bottom, obviously.
Yes,
We would make sure
I
it's
would
not
also.
reverse.
I'd also love to fucking host that show, because I think that's where my talent really lies. But yes,
There we go.
yes. Yeah, I would. I mean, I talked about on my shit, about how I think it was Time Out magazine talked about how LA and New York was number 1, LA number 2, where they were the worst dating cities for singles. I don't know if those studies now necessarily, separated, if that meant just generally, if that was gay only. I mean, or if it was probably was all of it. I mean, it makes sense though. It's just a city that attracts.
Makes sense.
No, makes sense.
It's a city that attracts people that are looking for something.
My
And
f- yeah.
it's a city about options. And very self-centered people come here.
My first ex told me
Shocker.
what he liked about me was the fact that I was raised in a small town.
Oh.
He's like
Who
everyone.
said
in
this? Is it the one that was
my-
calling at the moon?
No, the
Oh.
the
Oh,
first
the
one.
other one.
He basically, because I was raised like in the middle of nowhere, so I was like, he's like, yeah, it's not the same in LA. People are different here.
Yeah. All right, everyone, let's wrap it up. Thank you, Dante Martin, for stopping
Thank you,
by
Jay.
today for this great conversation. Thank you, Manny.
this was
for-
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Any
Appreciate it.
plugs you want to give?
No, I mean, well, yeah, Don Tasmo on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all of it. And look for me on there, and I'm doing more podcast episodes of my own show, Dante Raw.
And whenever he has a podcast and that will, invite me on to, I'll definitely take him up on that
You're invited.
offer.
Inviting you now.
Hopefully, I get that invitation soon.
Inviting you now. You're invited.
Okay, great. I'll be on this podcast. All right, everyone, be sure to check him out. Thank you. I love y'all.
Bye.